The dismissive avoidant represents the most defended variation of avoidant attachment, someone whose psychological walls are reinforced with concrete certainty about their superiority in emotional independence. When mutual contact ceases with this particular attachment style, the timeline unfolds with even more dramatic contrasts than with other avoidants. Their extreme self-sufficiency narrative and deeply buried emotional needs create a pattern where recognition of loss arrives exceptionally late, often tragically so, making the eventual reckoning all the more devastating when their defenses finally crack. The first month. Their triumphant independence feels validated. In the initial weeks, the dismissive avoidant experiences not just relief, but vindication. Their entire psychological identity revolves around not needing others, and the absence of contact feels like proof of their superior emotional evolution. They convince themselves they've escaped the burden of someone else's emotional needs and expectations. Their nervous system registers the silence as victory rather than loss. They actively suppress any emerging feelings of sadness or longing, reframing them immediately as relief or freedom. Their internal narrative works overtime to paint themselves as the rational, healthy one who escaped an emotionally demanding situation. They might even feel contempt for their former partner's previous emotional investment, viewing it as weakness they're glad to be free from. Meanwhile, their former partner typically experiences intense grief during this phase. They're processing the pain of loving someone who couldn't reciprocate, mourning not just the relationship, but the hope they carried for so long. This immediate emotional processing, while painful, positions them to heal faster than the dismissive avoidant, whose emotions remain locked behind impenetrable defenses. Month 2 to 4. The cracks begin forming beneath the surface. As time extends, the dismissive avoidant maintains their conscious narrative of being better off, but their unconscious mind begins registering loss in subtle ways they aggressively ignore. Random moments trigger memories they quickly dismiss. They find themselves thinking about their former partner more frequently, but immediately redirect their attention elsewhere. Their sleep might become disrupted by dreams they don't remember upon waking. Their psychology refuses to acknowledge these signals as grief or longing. Instead, they rationalize them as random mental noise, meaningless remnants of habit rather than genuine emotional connection. They double down on their independence narrative, perhaps pursuing new connections to prove they've moved on effortlessly, though these new interactions feel hollow in ways they won't admit. During this same period, their former partner is often making significant healing progress. They're beginning to see the relationship clearly, recognizing the one-sided nature of their investment and understanding why it couldn't work. Their nervous system is recalibrating to stability without the constant anxiety of the dismissive avoidant's emotional unavailability. Month 4 to 8. The delayed emotional processing begins. This phase marks when the dismissive avoidance defenses start showing serious cracks. The accumulated weight of suppressed emotions begins leaking through despite their best efforts to contain them. They find themselves unable to stop thinking about their former partner, comparing everyone to them, and feeling a growing emptiness that their usual independence tactics cannot fill. Their psychology begins reluctantly acknowledging that what they lost might have been more significant than they admitted. They start remembering positive moments with clarity that was impossible while they were defending against intimacy. The relationship gets reframed in their mind from burden to lost opportunity, from escape to mistake. However, this recognition still comes wrapped in massive resistance. The dismissive avoidant fights their own feelings, viewing them as weakness or regression. They alternate between acknowledging loss and dismissing it, creating internal chaos that manifests as irritability, restlessness, or depression they cannot explain. Month 8. Plus, the devastating realization arrives too late. By the time the dismissive avoidant fully processes what they lost, their former partner has typically moved far beyond them emotionally. The dismissive avoidant finally experiences the full force of feelings they should have felt months ago: profound loss, regret, and recognition that they destroyed something irreplaceable through their defensive patterns. This delayed reckoning is uniquely painful for dismissive avoidants because it comes paired with the crushing awareness that their superior independence was actually emotional avoidance, that their strength was actually fear, that their rational detachment was actually a prison of their own making. They often attempt to reconnect at this point, only to discover their former partner has genuinely moved on, built a new life, and developed zero interest in revisiting what caused them such pain. The dismissive avoidant faces the consequences of their extreme defensiveness. By the time they're ready to feel and connect, the person who once offered them unconditional love has found peace without them.